Stream validation in progress. That sounds tempting. Yeah, buddy. I tried to do it over here. Hi, guys. It's Connection Melissa Fox. Again, they're still validating the stream, which
Gotta wonder.
I guess if it cuts in and out, that's a problem.
Is it you?
Right. It's not me. It's you. Ha Dr. Dave. There he is. Okay. So, are you able to share the YouTube feed? What are you doing?
I'm looking for it right now.
All right. Okay. What? Wait, and there's the big empty chair. There's Linda's chair. Okay. There is this one here. This is my favorite picture here. It's the whole studio, everybody. Yeah. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, big microphone. What? Oh, sorry. Hope you okay.
Phallic mic there.
All right. Yay. It's okay. It happens. Lizzie said what? I know. I wish we were on the other one, but I can't get her done, so not gonna happen. And here we go. Ready?
This is all.
Soft opening.
This is all.
Soft opening.
This is all.
Soft opening.
Just sit back and enjoy the ride, boys.
Oh my God, we're taking a ride? That's our soft open. Dr. Dave, you run your headphones silly. Are you trying to make your hair look... There
Well,
you go.
I don't want to disrupt either of my hairs.
Okay, all two of them are standing at attention there.
I didn't know I was bald until I was nearly there.
Really?
Yeah, I was in an exercise class, and I leaned forward and looked up and said, "Hey, nobody told me I was bald."
I have often wondered, normally about, like, because I've been gaining a lot of weird weight lately, and so my thing is, like, at what point do you go, oh, my God, I'm fat? When does that happen?
I don't know.
When your belt stopped fitting.
No.
I'm still in denial.
Lately, I've been, got the moon going on, like the plumber crack, and I'm like, what is going on here? And I thought about it, I saw the first picture of Bike Week last year. And it was at the Full Moon Saloon, of course. Yeah, right. And a very, very large woman who must have known she was posing for a picture.
Really?
And she was wearing, one of them get up and goes that went right up her.
And went.
Yeah.
Ooh, just kept going and going.
And I was like, wow, at what point do you guys go, fuck it?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because, that wasn't even a commitment. That was just like, I'm going to wear it, and ain't nothing nobody can say about it because I kicked her butt.
I got thrown out of the boot hill one year.
Really?
Yeah, it was going up there. They check your IDs, right?
Yes, they
Well, I had
do.
no idea. So the guy said, well, I need to see your ID. I said, what for? Well, to make sure you're 21. So I unbuckled my trout, dropped trout, and said, I'm over 21. And they threw me out.
No, dude.
Yeah. Well, I was drunk, actually. It all sounded very logical at the time.
Okay, that makes
Yeah, I'm
sense.
of age, can't you tell? And it was like, yeah, they pitched me out onto the street.
We're still hunting down. We're just hunting down a dream here.
All right, got it.
Did you find us?
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah. For
posted
those
it.
of you that are trying to figure out what the heck's going on here, we are live on YouTube because Facebook, I don't even know. I got nothing. It said, your post is taking a little bit of time to upload. And I went, 3 minutes? Okay, all right. And this on
I think you're conservative, that's why.
the 30th anniversary of the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
guy.
go figure.
Yeah, can you believe it? The guy, not Al Gore. I know what you're thinking. But Al Gore actually did not. He just took credit for putting it together. But the guy that did, Sir Tim somebody or other, again, not a household name. Should be. So it's the 30th anniversary of the internet, and yet what happens? Facebook
Ever
takes
goes
a big
down.
fat dump.
Well, it kind of makes you wonder. Maybe is there people out there that never heard of the internet and then saw this on the news and is now checking it out? Is why we're running behind.
It could be. It could be. All right. So anyway, we're looking pretty. We're still putting it all together, and it's still going to be out there next Thursday night on News Radio. So stay tuned because the real show with all the big pros is coming up next. Okay? It's Connection. Stay right there. Give us 2 minutes. Just do it.
You done broke it. You done broke it. You broke it.
happened?
No, she's fine.
I unplugged
I
her somehow.
shared it the YouTube on Connections,
Here
and
come
now
all the people that are watching.
yeah. And
So
now
there's
I'm going-
Linda's head. She's now here. Okay.
So if you
there's
go on
Dr.
Connections
Dave.
Facebook page, you can share it from there.
How are you there? Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Copy the URL.
posted, so if you just actually share the
Mr. Punchline, I'm just going to say this for you once. You need to tell her, and you need to tell her now, or Lizzie and I are
He
broke.
hasn't told her yet?
Nope.
Is he
Are
pregnant?
you kidding me?
Nope.
No. I still smell a lawsuit. Is this...
That's your show.
I still smell a lawsuit coming because... but anyway, we can talk about that, but if you don't tell your wife...
I can't believe he hasn't told her.
He's a big pussy. He's making excuses. So, what? Is this a shocker? No.
Does he have something that needs to be treated?
Yeah, he's brain damaged, man.
So he hasn't told his wife that he's.
No, I think she figured that out. But they held his job for him. Okay, follow along with me. And then 3 weeks ago, they took him back, and they started him back into the job. Last Friday, they're like, "Yeah, you're doing a great job." Monday, they said, "You're done."
Yeah. Okay.
I smell a lawsuit. They tried, and then they gave up.
Well, I mean, are they under any obligation to?
That's the thing.
The answer is
Are they?
no. This is
No,
an
they're
at-will
not.
state.
Right. I know. It's an at-work, it's a right-to-work state.
Yeah.
So it's going to be tough, but I think you should still go down the, guys who you took a drive on and sue them. Because he was in the crosswalk. The light was on in his favor when he got run over by the car in November that caused him to be in a coma for 3 days and have to relearn how to walk, eat, take it down, and stop smoking cigarettes.
Has his sense of humor improved?
No, it's gotten worse and a
Oh,
lot slower
man.
on the delivery too.
How could you tell?
It was a lot slower on the delivery. no messing around, Andrew. Talking truth here. Just love you, mean it, okay? All right, I think we're time to do the show. Here we go. Okay, gotta go. Shut up. Hi there, it's Connections on News Radio 93.1 WFLA. Tonight, it's all about menopause.
What is that?
It is something horrible, that's what it is. Let me just clarify.
Lies.
It is not lies.
I didn't think it was real.
Oh, it's
I
real.
have to admit.
Oh, it's
I
real.
didn't think it was real, and I didn't think it would get me.
Oh, it got you.
And then it landed
And
on my
got you.
face.
Did it? So let's let you know who all's here. Of course, it's not all girls. It's never all the girls. It's actually a combination of people. One who's like knows everything and isn't afraid to talk about girl stuff, Dr. David Klein. So that is cool. Yeah, Facebook won't let me post either.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's okay. They're working on getting it fixed, though. And that's a beauty of Zuckerberg. Anyway, so we are on YouTube right now live. So if you get a chance, you can check out our Connections show page there. That's something new, as well as social media. Connections FM on Twitter. Yes, we post all the time. I'm Melissa Fox. Lizzie said what? Linda Nunez, and again, the wonderful Dr. Dave. So menopause. Now we've all heard that we've all heard menopause. We've all heard about the horror stories, and until you go through it, or even if you go alongside it with somebody else.
Rolled over by it.
What?
That's a truth.
Well,
That
okay,
is a
so
truth.
lay me some groundwork
Well
here, all right?
spoken.
All of a sudden, the guff is empty, if you will. There, no more baby, no more baby eggs in there.
Pretty much, yeah.
Right. What happens that creates the monster that is female?
You think.
What
Okay.
happens, Dave?
Well, here's the fun part. Okay, is that it's not a single thing that breaks. It's a multiplicity of things that screw up, go south, but not necessarily all at once. Okay, so women go through the quote unquote change of life, known as menopause, at different times. You know, some women go through it in their late 30s or earlier. Some it'll happen as a result of surgery, surgical menopause. Some of them are chemical menopause. You can give medications to cause it for whatever reason. And then you end up with a typical person who in their late 40s to late 50s, sometimes early 60s, rarely later than that, they'll start to go through the change, menopause. And so the body starts to run out. The ovaries start to run out of eggs. And when the last one flies out of there, or the last several are around, that's when you're going through menopause. So you don't end up with a menstruation. Menstruation kind of settles down. It eases out. The hypothalamus, which responds to these hormones, starts to go a little nuts. It jacks up. So it's very much like what happens with the thyroid. If your thyroid starts to fail, TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone, goes up. your ovaries start to fail, luteinizing hormone, follicle stimulating hormone start to go up. And it causes a bunch of other changes, and women tend to go a little nuts, and the guys tend to take a beating right alongside them. So everybody suffers with menopause. You know, there's a lot of collateral damage that occurs here. So why do you go nuts? And the answer is really easy. Okay, what happens to women when they go through their period? They go nuts.
Yeah,
We go nuts.
Yeah,
we
they go
lose
nuts.
our
We
mind.
bleed for
You-
3 to
I
7
want to run
days.
people over with my vehicle.
You go crazy.
Good.
Have you heard about the amazing Pop-Tart incident? I don't even want to. No, let's
Stop.
not take
Just-
you there.
just-
Well, no, I can't hardly imagine. Okay, but we all have these things. And at one time, I had a novelty that I tried to have manufactured, which was a box with a glass front, and inside was a wooden stake and a mallet, and said, "In case of PMS, break glass."
Oh, gosh.
Okay, so women go nuts when these hormones go shifting rapidly, or they go sideways. Actually, is what will happen in menopause. So these hormones regulate not just certain bodily functions, but also the way the brain works. So
Yeah.
girls are very, very much more sensitive to these shifts than guys are. But do guys go through these shifts? The answer is yes. Do guys go through menopause? Yeah, it's called andropause. With men, testosterone levels drop until it hits a critical point, and estrogen goes up until it hits a critical point. Then you end up competing with your female friend, spouse, or whatever, or whomever spouse you happen to be with at the time, over things like the channel changer on your television to see whether you watch Oprah or one or the other afternoon drama. Okay, so guys start taking up things like bridge and whatnot.
Stop
And
it.
so,
You
andropause is very interesting, but it's the same craziness. It's just got a different flavor to it. All right, so you can get Neapolitan, you can get strawberry vanilla chocolate. It doesn't matter. It's a different flavor to the game.
Okay.
So hormones change the way you think. You can go to the gym. You can look around and know who's juicing. Right?
Well,
okay.
you know.
Don't
No,
get into an argument with these folks, right?
No.
Okay? Because they
Right.
go nuts. The testosterone levels, I draw them for a living. You find out what they're doing. You find a testosterone level of 1,500 to 2,500, or too high to measure on the damn machine.
Right.
Okay, these are not individuals that you want to go crossways with. Okay, what do you mean you ate my payday? Blah, 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 boom, and they're all over you for a candy bar.
My sandwich.
Yes. Okay, whatever it happens to be. They're worrying about everything but their wife, okay? Because when testosterone shoots up like that, very, very frequently, so does the estrogen, and away goes, other troubles down the drain. It's a way, actually, of making your nuts shrink if you're a guy. So if you're really bothered by those things down there, jack your
Now,
testosterone up and
that
they'll
is
disappear.
a technical term from a 5-board certified doctor. You're nuts.
You're nuts, okay? Don't, why do you want to watch them go away? But they do, okay? What else happens to guys in the gym? Okay, they develop breast tissue. So they're growing as the gals are diminishing. And so what happens is guys go through the same hormonal issues as gals. Men and women are the same in this regard. The difference is timing and some of the finer points of the craziness. Okay? Women, hot flashes, they're going nuts. On the back of my truck, okay, in letters, it says Hot Flash Tactical
I love it.
Response
Every
Unit.
time I see that darn truck, and I see you a lot driving
Oh
around
yeah,
the
it's a
neighborhood,
hoot.
I get a laugh.
I've had older women. The younger ones think it's funny, but the older ones go, "It's not funny. Why are you making fun of me?" I said, "I'm not making fun of you. How would I possibly know you're menopausal, right?"
could fix
Okay,
it,
right? Oh, give me a break here. Tell me it ain't so, ma'am. So, yeah, it's just one of these kinds of things where we all learn how to duck and cover under certain circumstances. So the better question then becomes is, can you avoid it? The answer is no.
Yeah.
Okay, it's inevitable.
See, that's
But-
where I went wrong.
But can you mitigate the damages? And the answer is yes.
Yes.
Okay, and that's what we
Okay.
do all day long at Stages of Life, is we take folks that are going through all manners of changes. Hot flash tactical response unit. What happens with hot flashes? Okay, one of the first things that goes down is progesterone. Okay, it'll decrease before that the estrogen does, estradiol, and the imbalance causes hot flashes. And then as the estrogen goes away, wouldn't you know it, the hot flashes go away, and people think, women think, and men think actually, we're through it, we're done with it. When in fact, it's just a living death. Why is this? Because when the estrogen goes away, progesterone, testosterone, osteoporosis follows, so do cancer risks, risks of heart disease, mentation tends to diminish, your ability to think, concentrate.
Okay,
You get dumber is what it boils down to.
why
That's not good.
why does osteoporosis kick in? That's what I don't understand. I don't understand
Why do women get osteoporosis far earlier than men do?
I'm not sure.
Well, estrogen is necessary for bone deposition.
Okay.
As women get older, their estrogen levels diminish. As guys get older, it goes up. So it's very much more unusual
love
for men to
Mother
develop
Nature.
osteoporosis unless there's a secondary reason to do so, like steroid use. So if you're taking nasal steroids or if you're taking those sorts of things, you'll see osteoporosis as a guy. But rarely does it happen in men in a meaningful way until they're in their 70s or 80s.
So-
But women, 40 years of age.
So is that why as men get older, they tend to look like women, like in the face?
Well, that's because
Like
I
they
think it's
have-
from watching Oprah personally.
Well,
But
you and Oprah, what do you got against her? I know what you got against
I'm
her.
not crazy about it. You know, it's like anything else. You know, she's the thing. Well, Nathan, I'm not going to get into it. But I get a little bit
Sidebar.
frustrated.
But that would be the reason why men, as they start getting older, like in their 70s, they seem to tend to morph into the woman look.
It's the
softer.
estrogen.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Man, that makes sense.
it's like much of anything else in life. You end up changing because these things are part of you. They will change you. And so when asked, okay, and I'm asked this every day, 20, 30 times, what does that hormone do? And the answer is really very simple. Everything. Okay, what does that hormone do? The same thing, everything.
Everything.
Okay, it's like it would be like going into a chef and saying, "Chef, what does that spice do?" Okay, rarely, okay, is one spice ever necessary to do anything.
I don't know. Garlic's pretty good on everything.
Garlic is great on everything. Okay,
But
but
it really
rarely.
comes together when you add the salt and pepper.
And if you add a little paprika, a little
butter.
bit of oregano, and the list keeps going. All of
Damn,
a sudden,
I'm
you
hungry
realize,
now.
wait a second here, I used 6 or 7 different flavorings or spices to get this meal to work.
True.
Okay, you know, even tomato ketchup is set up that way, or mustard.
But salt
Another
doesn't
one,
need
another
a friend.
flavoring.
They don't need They don't need a friend.
They don't need a friend. Well, I don't know. You know, it's like anything else.
God.
I went and had Thai food today.
Okay.
Okay, and I had it medium hot,
Yeah.
medium spicy. Okay, I walked out of there with my head sweating. So the
Yeah.
question is, okay, why would a spice make my head sweat?
Where was your head?
That's the better question.
It is a good question, and we may get the answer to that.
I'll
It's
have the answer for you.
Connections on News
I
Radio
want the answer to that.
93.1 WFLA. We'll be right back. Stay right there. He's got the answer. Okay,
I'm
so
scared.
I'm not. It's because it's a Chile peppers, and they're very medicinal. They also clean up everything.
Yes.
By raising your temperature
They
and
don't-
opening up your sinuses.
Except your temperature doesn't go up.
No, it feels like it is, right?
Yes, it's
But
two
it
different
actually
things.
is opening up to all your sinuses and stuff. I swear by the chili pepper, not so much the hot wings anymore, apparently. But
Yeah. Well, yeah.
yeah, but the red hot. Matter of fact, it used to be they would say just literally open up the end of one and shove it up your nose if you couldn't breathe. I've read it. It must be true.
Wow.
No, but I would clearly eating hot and spicy food. That's what happens.
It's great, but it's also an appetite suppressant.
Mm-hmm.
So it does all kinds of different things. So the spices that you put in your food, in many ways, are just like the way these hormones work. Okay, they make certain changes in your system that are involuntary. So think about it. It's kind of neat. Okay, so why should my head sweat? Okay, when I eat certain hot or spicy foods, because the autonomic nervous system is changed. It hits my stomach, anybody's stomach. Does a certain change to the parasympathetic nervous system that translates to the level of the spinal cord, and then wouldn't you know it, the whole area that's innervated by that plexus, in this case it would be the superior mesenteric plexus or celiac, one of the two, then starts to go sideways, to include the skin on the top of your head, makes your eyes water, all kinds of cool things, make your sinuses start to run too. So the reason why that's important is that you begin to realize that hormones, like spices, paint.
Fucked bitches.
Well, that could be okay, but
I
they.
hate
But they
hormones.
all.
Why do we have to have them?
Well, because okay, there's a question we should bring back.
We
if
should
they-
probably bring that back on the air.
Let's
there,
bring that
kiddo.
one back on the air.
All right.
Don't shoot our connection show what on the YouTube and not on the radio. We need that.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah.
I really want to know.
I know you do.
Yeah,
So
I hate them. Ruin my life.
Harness
good.
the energy,
I mean,
Linda.
it was so easy.
really structured.
When I was young, I didn't have to think about any of
When I was young.
Seemed that life was so wonderful.
What was
Why is it not listening to me now?
When I was a young boy, I played the silver ball.
Oh, even better. Pinball
From
Wizards.
Soho
Nice.
down to Brighton, I must have met 'em all.
Very nice.
that deaf, dumb, and blind kid?
Show plays a mean pin.
Okay, this serenade is not of my choosing. I just want you to know that.
Shut
Okay.
up! We were doing good.
All right, I've
We're
lost
singing
this
to our own
computer.
tempo there, Dr. Day.
There you go.
Yep. You guys are beating your own drum. Yes, you were. And apparently that's what Tess says you're not allowed to do.
Oh, did she call in? Oh no.
No, but the last,
no.
he hands me his phone. He's like, I've never known someone have too much porn. And I was like, oh, come on. He's a doctor. He's
Well,
got experiment.
she's gonna be filling up a dumpster with it. That's a lot.
Oh, okay. All right, fair enough.
You should just have a garage sale with
Well, that's what
it.
you're setting up for. I think the stuff she's dumping in the dumpsters is too embarrassing for the yard sale.
I've had those items. No.
eBay
no.
it.
Yes,
You don't
about
need
that
anybody knowing we ever
time.
bought
Yep,
Oh,
here we
yeah.
go.
Thank you, Linda Ball, for listening.
Thank
Let's
you,
put a lock on
Linda.
that drawer.
This is Connections.
I know him. He wants to be able to have his cake and not eat me. It. Objection, move to strike.
And we will strike that. It was probably just menopause. Welcome back to Connections Relationship Radio with a twist on News Radio 93.1 WFLA. We've got Dr. David Klein from Stages of Life Medical Institute. How appropriate, of course, that his business is called Stages of Life, and that's what we're talking about tonight. Linda, for the last 6 months, you have been going through hell.
Yeah.
And subsequently, I've been going through hell.
Yeah, there you go.
I didn't think it would get me. I don't know why I thought that, but I was unpleasantly surprised when it disrupted everything about my life, including my sleep.
The best fun is to come.
What?
Oh, you're just getting started, girlie.
What?
Oh, great.
Yeah,
Oh,
this
great.
generally takes a couple years, or as they say here in the South, a couple 3 years.
Triple three.
And yeah, 6 months into it is when you start to get the first taste of the joy and rapture. So, but what? So what is it that hormones? You had a question about hormones.
I did. You said something about hormones, and I said I hate them. They've ruined my life. Why do we have to have them?
Why?
Okay. Well, the first question is what's a hormone? Okay. Second question is why are they necessary? And
Bad
the third
joke.
thing is what do they do?
There's a bad joke in there, right? But
No,
don't
I won't tell
it.
the joke.
No,
Okay.
Everybody knows the
on
joke.
it, yeah.
Thank you.
No. So what a hormone is? Okay. It's a chemical. Okay.
Lizzie's
It
over
could
here.
be.
Oh, I got it.
I finally got it. It clicked.
Sorry.
There we go.
Get there.
I'm on an 18-second delay. Screw you guys.
Very
Yeah.
nice. Anyway,
So what's a hormone? So, but it's a chemical. Okay. It could be steroidal. It could be amino acid. You have hormones that are polypeptides. That's amino acids in sequence. And some that are fatty acids. Okay. Some of them are hydrocarbons. There are different types of hormones that do different things. Melatonin's a hormone. It's a pentapeptide. You have all kinds of different hormones. But what they do is it's a part of your command and control mechanism. So if you look at your body as if it were a telephone system or radio for that matter, okay, telephone systems have several components, one of which, okay, is the wireless system, and the other one's the hardwired system.
Okay.
So your nervous system is command and control, wired. Brain to spinal cord, out to spinal cord, up and back. Okay? That's hardwired. There are three different portions of the nervous system, by and by. One's motor, motion, sensory, touch. And the third one's called autonomic. And the reason I mention this is that the sensory portion of the nervous system is fairly precise. The motor system is very precise, but the autonomic or involuntary is not so precise. So getting back to our earlier discussion about the Thai food making my head sweat,
Correct.
that had to do with the involuntary nervous system or the autonomics.
Okay.
Okay, you stimulate something in the stomach because that my head, eyes, cheeks, and basically down to my neck are all part and parcel of that same circuit. They all go sideways.
Okay, now wait, just stop 1 second.
Sure.
Now there are some people out there who can handle that hot food and they don't react to it.
The same way, because we're all what's the word, different. Okay,
Oh.
but functionally,
Fancy.
Screw
it's
you
all
guys.
pretty. Yeah, there you go. It's pretty much the same way. People have different sensitivities to noises, smells, and all kinds of things.
Yeah.
So the autonomic nervous system paints with a broad brush.
Okay.
It's very imprecise. It's regional as opposed to precise. Now, how does each cell communicate with every other cell in the body? Through something called the endocrine system, which is hormonal.
Oh.
So every cell in your body is listening to every other cell in the body. This is the fun part about it. And every so often, okay, they're finding new hormones. Okay?
Great.
Right. Oh, no, it's okay. Yeah, they've been there all along.
They live.
Yeah,
they-
so we
they-
can
they-
get them up.
Yeah, they they are they will have the last joke or the last laugh on this one. So,
Pretty sure.
but that's so what happens is these hormones paint with a broad brush. Okay, so your brain, your eyes, your heart, your nails all listen to the ovaries as they start to kick out a multiplicity of hormones. Your adrenal glands kick out 150, but they also listen to your fat cells, they listen to your nerve cells, your muscle cells, and everything else. So they talk back and forth. There's another system called the epicrine system, and the third one called the apocrine, and then these are regional or local, broad brushes, so that the different cells within the pancreas will talk to each other. And then there's some that go side to side. So that's the epicrine and apocrine systems. So hormones are chemical messengers, not in the same way as they are in the nervous system, which are things like acetylcholine, glycine, GABA, and some of these others. These are more complicated molecules typically, but they travel through the bloodstream to go from point A to point B. That's the difference, the bloodstream.
Oh.
Now that is key.
Oh.
That's what
Wait,
this is all
hold
about.
what?
Oh, all right.
Okay.
All right.
That's
Getting
how
tricky.
they communicate. Now, there are smaller systems, like in the hypothalamus, where it will trigger the release of hormones from the pituitary. And you're going to go, well, who cares about that? I studied that in high school. What differences make? Because every time you have a hot flash, you're experiencing why this was important to you then and why it's important to you now. So estrogen goes up as progesterone goes down. Your body in the hypothalamus is going to be kicking up growth hormone, releasing hormone, gonadotropin releasing hormone, ACTH, adrenocorticotropin hormone. They all have names and they do different things. So you start to go a little bit nuts beginning in the center of the nervous system, the center of the brain, working outward. This is all a hypothalamic disaster. It is the perfect storm. So what do you do? Now, what I would do if I were a lawmaker, okay, first thing
I'd
I
make it
would do
illegal, yeah.
is I would make
Yes.
Is what I was
I
thinking
would make
for a
it
while.
illegal, okay, to sell perimenopausal women guns. I would
What?
go to Williams Sonoma and make it illegal to sell them sharp knives, okay, because you're going nuts. It's just the way it's going to be.
What? You're going nuts.
You're
Well, what
going
if,
nuts.
Okay, what
Your
if you-
time will come.
Wait. What if you already are a few fries short of a Happy Meal?
That's where it gets to be most interesting.
I'm so excited now. I can't
It's going
wait.
to get fun. Yeah,
It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
What?
So, okay, so what do you do about it? Is this an inevitability? And the answer is yes, it's inevitable that it's going to happen. But is the craziness treatable? And the answer is affirmative.
Yay.
So what do you do and why do you do it? I'm going to back up a second because I'm
Yes,
just going to
you
do
are.
what I do.
We're gonna get ready to go to a break here. So
We
it's
have a
what we call the
commercial.
tease. So when we come back, Dr.
But I wanna
David
say
Klein
it.
is going to tell us about
Fixing the problem.
fixing the problem. You don't have to be crazy because of menopause. That's what we're getting at
It's
right
crazy
now.
not to fix it.
Okay, fair enough. Hey, if you want to check him out online, check him out. Go to suffernomore.com, or better yet, stagesoflifevitamins.com.
Yeah.
That site there is it's just jacked up. We talk about steroids. It is just jacked up with information about anything. It's not WebMD, okay? Don't go on there and start, well, I got this. You won't have to, because he explains stuff well enough that you'll know what you got, what you don't got, and who you need to talk to. That's all I'm going to say about that. Stages of Life Medical Institute. We love these guys. No more whining. Really?
Yes.
Really?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I put that one together for women going through PMS. And what it does is it blocks the production of estradiol. So you've got somebody that you want to wring their neck, teenagers in particular, mid-20s, D-endomethane, no more whining, lowers the estrogen level. There are a number of ways to do that. That happens to be the fastest.
But wait, do you really want to lower your estrogen level?
Temporarily. Oh, yeah. Okay, if it's making you nuts, and you know it's going to for 3 days during ovulation or 3 days during menstruation,
Well,
you
what
betcha.
if you don't have that anymore?
Well, then you don't need it.
Well, then you'd have
Unless-
no use.
I'm just pissed off then.
Unless you're still going through the change. Okay, there's so much more to learn. And men, you go through the change too. And I don't mean just with your women, like trying not to get killed. We'll be right back. It's Connections on News Radio 93.1 WFLA. Apparently.
Andropause.
Gracie.
Andropause.
Andropause.
Andro. A-N-D-R-O.
Andro.
Okay, so
Oh,
we
like
got-
androgynous.
Alright.
guy.
Yes.
So when we come back, you'll give us a solution, but you also, would you mind covering the andropause? when we
I'll
come
be
back?
delighted to.
Plenty of time to do that,
Can't
yeah.
wait.
But we want the solution to crazy first. That's what we want the what.
Have you already gone through andropause?
Well,
That's
no.
awful personal.
Well, the reason is I'm taking transdermal testosterone to prevent
You're
it.
trans what?
Transdermal.
So you
Oh,
can
oh,
change
some-
Questioning.
how these hormones talk and what they listen to.
Yeah. It's all modifiable. That's the only crazy thing about this is not doing anything
It's
about
not
it.
doing anything. Now, that I agree with.
Yeah.
Because it was like, I'm suffering and I just don't. I need to be suffering like this. I've got to do something.
Every day I get people coming in. I mean, honest to God, it's amazing. They come in
Hey!
and they're going completely out of their mind, or they're losing this, or they're losing that. Life is changing.
Yeah,
So-
I remember Mom when she started going through it, because my mom just turned 83, so
Yeah.
you can imagine.
Oh yeah.
Well, but the problem, okay, is that it's progressive. So as you go through this thing, it gets worse and worse and worse. Although symptomatically, it seems to improve. So it's just. I'm trying to think of a good metaphor for when things are getting so bad that they no longer are noticeable. So it'd be like if you're a horse, okay? So you're a horse. Something's wrong with your vocal cords, okay? A tumor is growing in on the recurrent laryngeal nerve, okay? So it starts getting worse and worse and worse. Then all of a sudden, there's no hoarseness at all, no voice at all,
Oh, wow.
okay?
What?
So it sounds better, okay? But the problem is a lot worse,
Ah.
Dude.
okay?
Mind-blowing.
It's different. It's a different way to think about it.
It really is.
You chip away at something until it breaks entirely, and in terms of the noise or the symptoms or the whatever, it can look like it's getting better, but it's not. So menopause never gets better. It's always progressively worse, and the problem with it is that you lose a lot of time by not treating it early, and certain disease states are progressive. You want to catch them before they get to be really bad. Osteoporosis is probably the best and most noticeable and measurable example of this. You develop osteopenia, loss of bone. Okay, but it's not bad enough to be called osteoporosis. Eventually it becomes osteoporosis, and there's very little you can do to reverse it. There are some tricks you can do. There are some medications that you can do to slow it down, which are really bad for you, actually.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, they cause bigger problems than they help. But if you catch these things before, it's like my mom died when she was in her mid-90s. She had no osteoporosis at all.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Okay, I had her on hormone replacement therapy since she was like 65, 70.
It's Connections.
I don't put a fucker on your kisser. That would be fantastic, man. Today's butt day. All you can kick for $4.99.
Hey, welcome back to Connections. Thursday nights, 9 o'clock on iHeartRadio. Yeah, WFLA, Orlando.com. And News Radio 93.1 FM AM 542. It's just, we're like crazy all over the place talking, which is what happens when you have menopause. Or you can actually get crazy all over the place. So tonight on Connections, I'm Melissa Fox, by the way. Lizzie said what? Linda left the room. And
She's a rock star.
She's got like 5 seconds of crazy going on. She'll be back. And we have Dr. David Klein with us, who is Dr. Dave. He's like the guy. He's our go-to man. I mean, if he has he ever dropped the ball on us?
No, he isn't.
I mean,
Never.
No matter what question, his balls. What? And yeah, I did that all by myself. So tonight we are talking about how to alleviate the crazy as well. When menopause comes, we can't remember stuff. We get like irritable and I'm just describing Linda. Oh, you're back. I'm just kidding.
Well,
So, right?
Dr. Dave during the break was kind of talking with us, and he said that menopause gets worse.
No.
Yes.
Right?
Well, yeah. Well, what happens is, okay, I want you to imagine, okay, that there are three basic hormone parameters with menopause that you have to concern yourself with.
Okay.
There are many others, but there are three that most people really ought to pay attention to. One of them is a hormone called estradiol.
Okay.
Now, women, men have three different estrogens: estriol, estradiol, and estrone. The only one that's really important here is estradiol. As women get older, estradiol levels drop. They diminish arithmetically, okay, until you hit about the age of 60, and then frequently they go to 0. All right. Progesterone diminishes over age, but it tends to go to 0 before the estrogen does. And testosterone is one of the first to go. So you have three different hormones, and they diminish with age, but at different rates. Now, who cares, right? You care. Because the ratio of the estrogen to progesterone is going to determine whether you have hot flashes or not.
Okay.
So it's not the estrogen level that does it, but the estrogen to progesterone ratio. So when progesterone starts to approach 0, it doesn't matter how little estrogen you have. The ratio is going to be too high, and you'll start going nuts. So,
Like, wait, you say going nuts. What do you mean going nuts? Like
look around the
mental?
room. No, this is what it is. Yeah,
Right.
you basically can't control the way your brain is working.
Okay.
You find yourself in a room that's 60 degrees, and you're feeling too hot, kicking off the covers, making the ceiling fan go.
Linda owned a fan.
Okay, so whoever else is in that room with you is going to be just chilled out. I mean, it's fascinating. I love watching
My
this.
father wears a coat wherever he goes with me.
Yeah.
Now,
Well, that's it. Okay, that's the way these things go. Because now, are you going to tell me that your temperature's high? And because it's not.
It's my temperature's
It's
not.
low.
I hope it's not.
It's not. I'll promise you, it's not. Okay,
because in 5 minutes I'm
Yeah.
going to also then be freezing. I drop to the other end.
Yes.
Of
Okay.
the spectrum.
Right. Okay.
But your temperature stays the same?
Your temperature is low. Okay. Your brain interprets a low temperature in an odd way. So if you have the flu and you're running a temperature, or you have a temperature of 101, 102, you'll develop a chill. Okay. The brain interprets things in a funny kind of a way. Your temperature's low, you're going to feel hot. Okay, so you've got to do something to bring the temperature down. Everybody else around you is going to be wearing Arctic gear, muckluck, snowshoes, and you're going to be running around going, "It's hot in here."
You could fry an egg on my head.
Right.
Yeah.
is that not your body burning off the organs?
No, it's not burning off
Really?
anything. You can't burn something off at a temperature 97. So we take temperatures in everybody. It's a hoot to watch this. Now. Okay, what else can make these ratios go nuts? Okay, something else diminishes with age. Okay, that just happens, and it's thyroid function. Okay, thyroid function diminishes with age. Even with a normal TSH, your body's thyroid function diminishes because the pituitary changes what it considers to be normal. So the new normal isn't really very normal at all. So the temperature continues to drop. So it's very, very common for people to have low temperatures and think it's normal. It is not, and never has been, and never will be normal. So why do you have a temperature of 97? Because you have hypothyroidism, whether it's primary hypothyroidism, secondary, tertiary, or functional.
So this all is combined
It's
with
all
menopause.
combined.
With
Okay.
menopause.
Menopause tends to make it worse.
Menopause doesn't mess up everything.
Why does a metabolic standard lipid panel blood test not show more about what the thyroid is doing?
Because it's not testing it.
Well, how do you?
Well,
how do you
no, it's
fix,
gonna
how
be,
do you
it'd be
rectify
like putting a
this?
thermometer outside and wonder why it didn't measure rainfall. I mean, it's just not going to do it because you're not measuring the right thing.
That was good. That was
Yeah.
a good one.
That was a good.
No, it's an easy metaphor to follow.
So what do you have to ask for when you go to have a blood test?
You got to ask for Dr. Klein. No, actually,
There
what
There you go.
what you
Suffer
need-
no more.
What you need to ask for is a panel that consists of the following. Metabolic panel basically tells you how your kidneys and your liver are doing.
Okay.
That is important information,
Sure.
clearly. However, if you want to know your estradiol level, you get an estradiol. Want to know your testosterone, get your testosterone. If you want to know your progesterone, you get your progesterone. There are other things you can get. DHEA, cortisol, DHEA, very important, pregnenolone if you're in your 60s. Okay, these things make a huge difference because they relate to each other. If your thyroid's not working, menopause gets worse. So it doesn't do you a lick bit of good to go and say, I want hormones so I can feel better, and then your doctor gives you oral estradiol, which is the worst thing you could possibly do.
Normally, don't they say, I need some hormones so I can
They
feel
do.
better?
No, people. No, honestly,
My
I know.
breasts are sore.
Yeah. Well, if, I mean, it's like, my breasts are sore. It's from lifting things. So, but
Good, let's work on that voice
Maybe you're
first.
pregnant.
Yeah.
No, that's
no.
not it.
Well, no, you have to ask.
I am not taking estrogen.
So, is there something for those of us who have not started menopause yet? Thank you, dear Jesus, knock on wood.
Yeah.
That we can start taking now to prevent or
No.
lessen.
You can't. Okay.
Okay.
Every time you have a period, every time you ovulate,
Okay.
you're going to lose a certain number of eggs. More of them up front when you're younger,
If I'd
and
have
the
known
numbers
that,
tends
I'd
to
have
diminish.
ovulated.
Okay, well, what about
No, and it's just the way it goes. You're using up your ammunition every month. Okay, so if you figure that you're going to go through 40 years of menstruation, okay, multiply that by 12. That's 500
Okay.
menstrual cycles. Okay, and you're going to end up losing a dozen, 20, 30, 100 eggs per cycle. One of them will actually ovulate. The rest of them turn into little cysts. Okay, you're going to burn through your ovaries pretty quickly. That's pretty much what happens. There are medications you can take that can speed that process up, but it is a slow,
But do you want to
agonizing
speed
death.
that up, though?
Hell no, you don't want to mess with Mother Nature here, baby. Let it happen the way it's going to happen. So there's nothing you can do to speed it up or slow it down. What you can do is you can minimize the damage, the collateral damage.
Okay, that's what I was
That
asking.
is key.
All right, let's do
Okay.
this. How do we
That
do
is
this?
what
How do we do it?
Okay, you do it like this. It's kind of like being a carpenter. I'm a carpenter. I'm a mechanic. I was a mechanic before I was a doctor. Okay, and what you do is you measure. Okay, if you're going to go ahead and take some brake pads, or you're going to take disc brakes. Okay, and you're going to hone them down. You better measure what you're doing. Okay, and take your time with it and get it done right, because the measurements have to be fairly precise. When you're dealing with hormones, you do the same thing. So what I will do is I'll measure estradiol, progesterone, testosterone, as well as thyroid, insulin to some extent, and then I start bringing them back to a normal ratio.
Okay.
So if you're short estrogen, I give you estradiol and estradiol typically. If you're short progesterone, equally likely, I'll add that to the mix. If you're short testosterone, I throw that in, and if you need thyroid, it gets added. Not necessarily to the same cream, not necessarily the same titrate, the thing that goes under your tongue, but it could be a pill, it could be any number of different applications. So what you do is you measure, figure out what's out of balance, and restore the balance. So if let's say you have too much estrogen, I'll take it away from you.
Okay.
How do I do that? I use no more whining. It knocks it down, does it fast, does it within 8 hours.
Now, do you don't think? I'm just a sidebar here.
I
but
get to name it if I invent
I
it.
know, but do you think that the chicks first look at it and go, "You son of a"?
Oh,
no
I don't
more
care.
wine." Yeah, I mean, you
They
do that
laugh.
intentionally,
Oh,
right?
they
So
laugh.
like, "You
They
get
laugh
the
with
joke."
their teeth together.
Through their teeth, yeah.
Yeah.
And if they don't-
But the one thing they do is they buy the stuff and feel better.
Take
and
it,
so,
then come
yeah.
back, yeah.
Oh yeah, and for the longest time, people were saying people aren't going to like that today because you name it funny. What do I do for ED? I use stud mix. Okay. Well, who's going to take stud mix? It's been on every continent but Antarctica. Okay.
What the heck's wrong with them guys?
In Antarctica, there aren't too many people there, but I did get some kinkies onto Antarctica. Did
I
you
know,
saw
I
the picture?
saw
Read something?
that. Yeah.
Yeah, one of my neurology buddies was heading down that way, and I said, "Hey, would you take some of your kinkies down to Antarctica?" I said, "It's the only continent it hasn't been on." And if I didn't know him better and his wife, I would have given him the stud mix to take down there
Hello.
too.
Yeah.
Nice.
So so he didn't need it.
He's-
However,
Oh,
yeah.
please. So, tonight on Connections, which is relationship radio with a twist, we're delving into menopause. And when we come back, because right now we pretty much geared so much on the womenopause, if you will, and we're going to take a moment to talk about andropause. Andropause. Okay, that's, yeah.
Stop trying to make it Italian.
Right. That's what I do. So we'll be right back. Thank you, Linda, from the Cheap Seats. Yeah, it's Connections on News Radio 93.1 WFLA.
This is
And nickname was Fungul.
No. No.
Your nickname was not definitely.
It was not Fungul.
Unless a lot of people have the same nickname.
I don't even know what that means.
Well, it's not a good. It's not a good thing.
Fungul.
To be
It's
like
I think it pretty much means fuck you up your
Fuck
ass.
you,
Yeah.
Nice.
Just sort of like kono i koyo or something like that. Koyo.
No.
You don't know.
Koyo i konyo. There's a phrase I cannot remember now.
Well,
it's
there's
basically
Mesamecula, and there's,
Mesamecula, okay.
Besame
Fila de puta.
culo. Oh, that's
Is
based
not
on
nice.
mucho, right?
No, that is
Oh.
not a nice thing. That's
All I
son
know.
of a
So there's
bitch.
nothing that we could take that would help prolong the possibility of having menopause.
No. It's going to happen when it happens.
When your body's
However,
ready for it.
Yeah.
if you're hypothyroid, the symptoms tend to occur earlier.
Okay.
Okay, so there's nothing you can really do to say, okay, I'm going to prevent menopause. No,
I
it's
didn't
going to
have
happen.
any symptoms until almost 52, so that
Which is
means I
average.
went later.
That's
Well, here,
average.
since
That's
we're all
average?
sharing,
Perfect.
yeah, I started the menstrual cycle when I was 10, not steady, and I was out by the time I was like, what was it, 39?
Okay, well, one of the problems, okay, when you're hypothyroid,
Yeah, 39.
When-
Meanwhile,
when you're
I went all the way through
hypothyroid,
the 40s into
um,
the 50s.
you can become anovulatory. That means you don't have any periods
Right,
at all,
it'd be like
and
spring.
still not be menopausal.
Right, and I wasn't. They kept saying I was perimenopausal, but I
No.
was like, no, I wasn't.
No,
I just
you
wasn't.
can. I can stop you.
bleeding.
I can stop your periods simply by inhibiting your thyroid.
Could you have done that when I was 16?
Yeah,
Oh, where were you?
yeah, but that's not a good thing.
It's probably not good.
I know, but
No, it's not a good thing.
Still.
So, but I have plenty of patients, and sometimes into their 60s or 70s, that you go ahead, you bring them in, you test them. They don't look. I mean, the gonadotropins are doing okay, but they're profoundly hypothyroid. You treat the thyroid, they start to ovulate again, and the next thing they do is get pissed at me. Okay, you're making me have my cycles. I say, no, I didn't make it. If you want to, don't blame me for that. Okay, that's not my doing. But when you don't have enough thyroid hormone, these cycles don't do too well. So one of the symptoms, most important symptoms of hypothyroidism, is heavy irregular menstruation. Okay, sometimes painful menstruation. So they'll be told, well, you must have endometriosis because it hurts so bad. Well, you can fix a lot of that stuff by giving progesterone and thyroid hormone. So these things are not necessarily kisses of death in terms of symptoms. They're easily corrected, and it doesn't cost much. So for my patients, for a couple of reasons, mostly because I invented the base that it's in, I give it to the pharmacy, we're able to deliver hormone replacement therapy for about $30 a month. It's actually less than $30.
Dang, that's not bad at
No,
all.
it's not bad at all. It's very affordable. And that's estriol, estradiol, testosterone, progesterone, all in one cream. Okay? You apply it once a day, and wouldn't you know it? So I think they deliver 90 days of it for $80. So it goes to your door for $80.
Not bad.
All right?
Not bad at all.
Testosterone, same thing. 90 days, $80.
Quick sidebar.
Sure.
Why do women who work together ovulate together?
I don't know.
Okay. Still no science on that.
No, that'll be the first time I've said that in the show. However,
Well, you didn't
okay.
say it on the air, so you're safe.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, yes.
YouTube.
Well,
It's on
just
YouTube.
Well,
Just
no, there's a lot of
immortalized
speculation what causes it. Okay, but it does happen. It happens a lot. Okay, which means there's got to be some type of ethereal communication between the women, which is to say, a chemical from either perspiration or breath.
Chemicals doing it, pheromones do it, maybe.
What's a
But
pheromone?
what
Except
if-
that pheromones in humans are not really recognized yet. So,
It's
but are there chemicals that make a difference? I would have to ask you this question. Okay, do you wear cologne or perfume?
Sometimes.
Sometimes. What does it do?
Makes you
It
smell
instills
good.
a feeling. Okay?
It
So
does.
and different colognes will give different people feelings. And oddly enough, different colognes on different people will smell differently.
Well, yeah, the same cologne on different will smell different on different.
The
people.
chemistry is
Because
very,
you're
very
chemical.
complicated. So what do you want to do if you want to sell your house?
Take your own car.
Make
Okay.
It smell like cookies.
Make it smell like vanilla.
Get out of my car.
Vanilla cookies.
Vanilla.
You and
What's
your
what's in
perfume, get
vanilla?
out. Get out.
Okay?
Get out.
That makes sense.
know.
But I was just wondering about that whole why, and I thought maybe it had something to do with the moon.
Has nothing to do with anything. Otherwise, no. No, what it has to do with that you're in closer quarters with your coworkers in a typical 8-hour day job than you are with anybody else.
I see.
Join America's most popular show already in progress.
Welcome
some
back to
other
Connections
chick's
on News
bedtime.
Radio 93.1 WFLA. We do this for you on, Thursday nights at 9 o'clock we do. And tonight we're tackling the question of what the heck menopause, really? I think that's the question. Is that a question?
That'll work for me.
That's a good question. It's definitely a question. What the heck? Anyway, but most people think it's just a girl thing, a woman thing, a lady thing, an old lady thing for that matter. And it's not. Melissa Fox here. Lizzie said what? Linda Nunez shaking her head. And Dr. Dave explaining that men, too, go through
Andro.
menopause.
Andropause.
It makes me think of the ant killer, but it's not.
Yeah.
Amdro. But this is
Amdro, but this is andro.
andropause.
Yeah. And
Please
so
explain what it is that you go through.
men go through their own change of life. So it's just the way that it works. I mean, not only do they suffer with female menopause, okay, because I'll tell you what, it is not a lot of fun to be around that household, okay? It doesn't work so well. Women will go crazy, okay? There's nothing you can do to please them. They can't please themselves. They're unhappy, and there's somebody to be responsible for it, and it's the nearest person, usually the
And
husband,
we don't know
boyfriend.
why.
Of course, it doesn't even matter.
Or
okay,
realize it.
crazy doesn't have to know why.
Right.
Okay, that's the definition of crazy. Okay, you may know that you're being unreasonable, and you may apologize the next day after, or maybe the next week when the wounds heal. Okay, however, okay, but what do men do? Okay, no. Men go through a similar process. It doesn't typically happen in exactly the same way. But as testosterone decreases at 1 to 2% per year, beginning around the age of 25, men somewhere around the age of 40 start to go nuts in their own way. They start finding other people to get interested in because they think that that's what's going to reinstitute their interest. Where did the libido go? Well, it must be the chick. It's the same thing. It's blaming somebody else for your issue. So what do? You start finding the younger chick until you realize that you have to. They talk. That's a real problem. Why? I was told by an older guy, I was 3 years older than I was, surgeon when I was at Duke. And I asked him, I said, this guy was not a good-looking guy. Short guy, dumpy, but he got all the women. And I asked him, I said, look, what is it about you that is so special that these women are fawning all over you? I said, is it the obvious? He goes, it's not what you think. I said, what is it?
You were thinking
I was
size.
thinking size. No, nope, not that. Although, I didn't check. Okay? He said, nope, it's you go for the older women.
I'm glad I wouldn't have liked that story.
There you go.
Yeah,
Older
that
women.
story.
Why do you go for the older women? Because you don't have to tell them all the same stupid stuff. And so I realized something, okay, that with age comes wisdom,
Yeah.
okay? I felt like Obi-Wan Kenobi had just met, what's his name, the little munchkin. All right? So, I learned something from this Yoda. I learned something from Yoda, okay? With men, though, okay, they tend to go a little bit nuts. So they start looking at younger women typically. They start buying sports cars. They do midlife crisis behaviors. And that's a big joke. You go driving outside, you're going to start seeing all kinds of old guys like me driving around in sports cars, which they clearly don't belong in. Their reaction time's not as good. They don't even look good in these cars, okay? They're not putting on a good car.
Correct.
So these are the sorts of behaviors you see when estrogen levels go up. It's not a big coincidence that that the average age of the NASCAR viewer, okay, is going to be between 30 and 60, okay, and the Viagra car going around and around and around the track there is they spend a lot of money to get to that crowd, okay. The problem with men is as testosterone goes down, estrogen levels go up, and then when the ratio flips, where the testosterone to total estrogen ratio exceeds or is less than 5 to 1, that's when erectile dysfunction starts to kick in.
Oh, okay.
Okay? They start to become depressed, fat. What's that, dad bod?
Yeah, dad
Yes.
bod.
Okay, I didn't even know what that was until my daughter told me I had one.
Oh.
Yeah.
How dare she?
All right.
Well, it's okay.
Wow.
Yeah, but this was shortly after I told her, "Congratulations, you weigh more than your father does." Okay.
Yes.
Then it was
Great
like it was
family.
all it was game on. You know what I mean?
Pretty much,
But,
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was a little annoyed with her because she wasn't paying attention to the diet. She wasn't paying attention to what I was teaching her, and she ended up weighing more than I did. Now, she's come off a good bit, but just the same, it's a whole lot easier to put on than it is to come off. So men go through andropause. How do you fix andropause? Well, God bless men, because it's a lot easier to fix andropause than it is menopause. Men are easy. You give them something to eat, a place to sleep, a roof over their head, and they're happy. You could feed them the same food every day, the same as the dogs around us right now, and they're not going to change. Women, I don't like this. I don't like that. I want to try something different. Guys, oh, hamburgers again? You know, and they're pleased. So how do you fix guys' andropause? You bump the testosterone levels back up into the 500 to 600 range, which can be done for about $30 a month. It's very inexpensive. And then you lower the estrogen. And you lower the estrogen, wouldn't you know it, by using the no more whining, which is diindole methane. It blocks the degradation of testosterone to estradiol, thereby pushing up testosterone and lowering the estradiol. And then they too can be more like Dr. Dave. So there's a number of ways that you can do this, but men are easy. They're linear. Okay, they're the easiest people in the world to fix this way. Women, not so much. Okay, why? With men, there are 2 hormones you have to worry about. With women, there are 4. Okay, and that's an unfortunate thing. And then as you get older maybe being in your 70s or 80s, then you have to start worrying about cortisol, pregnenolone, and some of these others for the mentation, the ability to think. So it's not let's just say that it's not the easiest thing in the world to do, but it's not the most difficult thing to master. You just have to be willing to think in nonlinear terms. So Stages of Life is the name of my clinic. The reason I came up with that is that disease states and treatments are really reflective of your stages of life and your stage of health.
Okay.
So gender, stage of life, stage of health, family proclivities for disease, occupational illnesses, environmental issues, dietary problems, and so on and so forth, all enter into it. And so when asked, how do you fix it? The answer is yes. Okay? And the place that you start is with establishing an accurate and appropriate diagnosis. And if you think that that is a common thing around here, the answer is no. And if you think it's any different where you're at than around here, the answer would be no. It's the same everywhere.
Is menopause sort of a personal journey in that it's different for everyone?
Well, I'm not going to go through your menopause.
Well, yeah,
Thank
exactly. So what
You
I
don't
want to say to
wanna.
people is if you think that, well, you're suffering and there's no one else that can help you because your problems are unique, you're wrong.
Exactly.
Go and seek help. There's no reason to suffer.
Yeah, and the other thing, then this kind of fries me a little bit. Okay, don't pay as much attention, okay, to gender with regards to treatment as you are led to believe you need to. So, you know, when I was coming through the system, okay, I want to see a male doctor because I don't want this, and I want to see a female doctor because of that. You are eliminating half of the competent people out there without even knowing who they are. It makes no sense.
True.
Yeah, I know female physiology pretty darn well without ever having had a uterus or ovaries.
Right.
Okay,
It would really scare me if you had
I have held them in my hand. I have put them in jars. Okay.
Cool.
However, okay, you don't have to necessarily be somebody.
Never, ever show me that jar.
Oh, there you go.
Just asking.
Yeah.
Got a
no, but I
uterus
mean,
in a jar.
no,
Want to see it?
Well, you
Here
do.
it
That's
is.
one of the things you're trained to do is to take them out when you need to. Unfortunately, many of them are taken out unnecessarily. Okay, just because you're bleeding excessively doesn't mean it has to come out. That is a sign of hypothyroidism. It's a sign of hypoprogesteronemia. These are correctable illnesses. Okay, so it's the way these things go. So don't necessarily look at gender. Men and women, in terms of medicine, are trained the same way. Doesn't make any difference. A man is equally likely to screw up GU surgery as he is, as anything else. So that's the first thing. Okay. Second thing is age. Don't look at age. Just because a younger doctor's out there doesn't mean they're smarter.
True.
Okay.
No.
Because something you earn something in life that comes with time. It's called experience.
Wisdom.
Well, you hope wisdom, but experience comes with age. Wisdom, okay, comes to those who are prepared. So I had a patient in today with an ankle issue. This guy went and had surgery of his ankle. He was told, that they fixed the damn thing. So he ends up with persistent pain in his ankle. Now it's moving from the left side to the right side. So he comes in expecting me to do one thing. He walked out without any pain at all.
Nice.
Okay, what he had was a nerve pinch, a nerve called the sural nerve, and it came from his shoes. So the podiatrist missed it. The orthopedic surgeon missed it. The family doctor missed it. It took me 5
This
minutes.
guy's incredible. He'll tell you anything and everything and fix it all. He
He's
loves
still
a
talking.
challenge.
You just
and
can't hear him.
He's still going. It's Dr. David Klein. Check out Stages of Life Medical Institute Connection Show. We hope you learned something, boys and girls. Lizzie, thank you so much. Linda, thank you so much. Dr. Dave.
Turn your head and cough.
Always. As long as you call me Bert. Melissa Fox, and I'd like to say thanks for listening. Love ya. Mean it.
Laughing time is over.
Thanks, guys. We had a lot of fun. Sorry it was on YouTube, but sorry, not sorry. At least we got to do it. So we'll catch you next time. It's Connections, and of course, you know we love you, and we mean it. Yep.